Welcome to the first episode of Break It Down. I'm here with Callie Crabtree, the owner of Pull at Play at Levity. Hi, Callie.
Hi.
Do you want to introduce yourself a little more than I just did and talk about your business?
I have been teaching since 2004. I teach exotic pole dance, which is slutty pole dancing. When we were about to open or start offering the pole classes at the Pilates studio, my she owns the Pilates at Play. Her clients were saying, don't do it, you're gonna ruin your business. We tried to network with like a local burlesque troupe and they wouldn't network with us because of just some of the stereotypes about pole dancing.
Really?
Yeah. And now they would, now it's changed a lot, but it was interesting. They didn't want to associate with strippers, so.
Let's just talk about first, what is pole dancing to you?
When I first got on a pole, the pole was really intimidating to me, and I regarded it as an enemy and something I needed to conquer and something I needed to overcome, and I was fearful of it. As I got more comfortable on it, then I started regarding it as a mentor who was like challenging me and to be better and pushing me to overcome, my self-imposed limitations and stuff like that. A couple years down the road, I got so comfortable with it. I felt like, oh, this is my dance partner, and I started falling in love with it, and we started dancing together and making magic together. And shortly after that, I was training and like 2 o'clock in the morning or something at the old studio, and I got done and I just collapsed on the floor and I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. And I looked at the pole and I realized that it's just a fucking pole, and that I had been fearing and fighting and falling in love with myself the whole time. Pole dancing isn't about the pole, it's about you. It's about your relationship with yourself. To me, pole dancing is very sensual and sexy and slutty, and I like that about it. But it's not like that way for everyone, but.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I take your classes, we'll make that clear. I do and have been coming to you for 3.5 years, I think. Yeah. So I know that you bring that kind of philosophy to class, but do you want to talk a little bit more about how you teach and like what you teach your students?
In order to pole dance, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be okay being vulnerable, and you have to be willing to overcome self-consciousness, and that's really scary. And so it takes a lot of courage and strength to be vulnerable like that. In order for me to expect my students to be vulnerable, I have to be vulnerable, making mistakes, and because that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna be goofy, awkward, and make mistakes in the beginning, and every time you learn a new move, but you'll eventually get comfortable with it. And I absolutely love my students. I love the community that it creates, and that's really important to me. I think we're all hungry for that.
Yeah, I love that you like to make it goofy, because even during like warm-ups, you're making noises and like jokes and just like really breaking the ice for us, which is really, I think, helpful because of pole dancing kind of being intimidating, especially when you're first starting and feeling self-conscious.
Honestly, I think everything is supposed to be fun. I mean, not everything is supposed to be the most fun, but I think that life is supposed to be fun, because it's like we take stuff so seriously, and we shouldn't, because it's making us all really bummed out.
Yeah, do you want to talk about like just a couple examples of like how you make pole dancing fun, like either in the warm-ups or in the moves?
So you lay on your back with your hips lifted, and then we hump the ceiling, and we grab God by the beard, and we hump his face while we're doing.
Your goofiness and like the way that you allow yourself to be you in class too, I feel like that draws people in that are, compatible with the way you teach and the way you are, and that you want it to be a goofy environment.
I've had shitty jobs throughout my whole life. I'm 44 now. I've had lots of shitty jobs. I'm sick of shitty jobs. Like this job, I like it, and I want to continue to like it. And so I like to surround myself with people I like and students that I like. And so, because it's a really symbiotic relationship, the students and the teacher. Like I'm giving them my energy, and then you guys are giving me your energy. It's this exchange that's happening, and it feels like most of my job is balancing energy in class and trying to keep it light and conducive to learning. And it sounds crazy, but pole dancing, I mean, even the slutty pole dancing, it is more like playing as a child than anything else I've ever done. And that sounds totally weird, but it's true. What I think that says is something about sensual and sexual expression itself is kind of just a part of us and expressing it as a part of us. And so it's an important part of us, and it's innocent really in a lot of ways. And it shouldn't be demonized and regarded as dirty.
Most of the time when people think about pole dancing, they want to make this disclaimer that they're not a stripper, or it's not stripping, or, I'm not doing the slutty version of it.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
So I've seen two different types. So there's people that say that in a way where it's like clearly they're judging strippers, and then there's people who say it where they do the disclaimer like, I'm not judging strippers, but I'm not a stripper. Like, the fact we even need to say that is ridiculous. The whole reason that people feel like they need to say that is because there is an innate value placed on those answers of like, if you say, yeah, I'm a stripper, I dance. Or you say, no, I'm not a stripper. One is more valued than the other. And you're still making a statement like, I don't have anything to do with that naughty girl stuff. I'm a good girl who just likes to do gymnastics on the pole. And that's bullshit. Like, it's not fair to the people who invented it and who created it and who continue to create it. Our women's sensuality and our sexuality is policed and demonized and devalued, and we don't need to be doing that to each other, especially when it relates to something like pole dancing, which is very sensual and erotic and awesome.
Yeah, is your argument that like there really shouldn't be a separation of that, like that, like kind of being a stripper or being sensual / slutty should be inevitably a part of pole dancing because that's like where it came from?
Well, I think that they shouldn't even have to answer that question, actually. I think they should say, why am I even being asked that question? That's what it is. And if you feel the need to make that distinction, then you need to ask yourself why. I think that it clearly is a way of separating women who deserve to be recognized and valued from women who don't deserve to be recognized and valued, or people who don't deserve to be recognized and valued. And so that's what I think that whole question, where that comes from.
Like, it's a weighted question.
Yeah, it's very weighted.
It's not like an actual curious question. It's like, how can I judge you based on that
Exactly.
response?
How can I judge you? Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I realize when like, usually this isn't an Uber, but when I'm coming to class, and someone's like, oh, where are you? I'm going to work. Oh, where do you work? Downtown, Olympia. And, oh, what do you do? I teach dance. What kind of dance? And then I'm like, pole dancing. And then suddenly, oh, yeah, okay. Like I just said, hey, you want to fuck? And then that's like what it's like. It's like, what? Like, it's just so bizarre. And that's the thing that's messed up. So the problem isn't pole dancing or the people doing it and how we make that distinction. It has to do with how society treats feminine sensual expression, period. Like, in order to be taken seriously and safe and to be valued and respected, we have to completely relinquish our sexuality and our sensuality. We cannot express that and also be safe and be respected and be valued. And that's messed up. I think that in order to stop that, we have to start being real about it. Like, yeah, this is what I do, and that's okay. Yeah, I like to clap my ass, and that's okay.
The whole reason that it's ever been an issue socially is because it's just a direct reflection of how sex work or just sexuality is viewed in our society.
Yeah. In the United States, we are so weird about nudity. Like, where people would rather have their kids watching people killing each other than seeing a woman breastfeeding. Like, I mean, that's where we're at. Like, that's crazy. Nudity in general is just seen as bad, and sex is bad, and I don't think that. I think that's a society that thinks that way has a lot of sexual assault and sexual abuse in it, and that's exactly what we have.
Yeah, so what are the main benefits of expressing in this way?
You aren't sexually and sensually constipated when you do this. Like, you work it through your system and you feel, you fall in love with yourself. You really do. You start accepting yourself, you feel more confident, you feel more a part of everything, and it allows you to get rid of shame and to feel powerful and strong, like in your body, and to have a relationship with your body. And we're constantly inundated with all this information saying you're not good enough and you need to buy this to be better. And so people are growing up hating their bodies, and that is sad. Our body is there with us through thick and thin. And it does its very best to keep us safe, and then we just hate on it all the time. And I think that's messed up. And I think that when you start doing something that improves the relationship with your body, like pole dancing, then you start seeing that it's your best friend, and you start loving it a little bit more, and then you are healthier all around. You take better care of it.
So for people who aren't pole dancers or strippers and don't have any interest in it, and have a more general, stereotypical view of it, how can people start to reframe how they view pole?
The stereotypes of a pole, that's just a symptom of a bigger problem. You know what I mean? It's not the problem in and of itself. It's a symptom of what we were talking about with that whole, just the view of sensual expression. And I've always had this theory that people, when somebody's like being an asshole, or they're like, being like catty or judgmental or making someone else feel bad, that it's all from insecurity. It's like people who are confident don't do that. They just don't. They want other people to feel confident and good too. If somebody's having these negative views about things, I would challenge them to really be honest with themselves about why.
Yeah.
What is it? What is so threatening to you about it?
What's your advice for people who might be just really intimidated to try it?
Find a studio that aligns with your values and beliefs, and just take a class. Just take one class and see if you like it. Like, if you are capable of feeling comfortable, I think, in that space. And if you like the teacher, if you like the way the class is set up, if you leave the class feeling a little bit hopeful, then that's good. In my classes, at least, I don't know about other pole classes, but you just do what you can. If you can't do something that we're doing, that's fine. I have modifications, variations of everything. There's always an option. And I certainly don't expect people to be able to do stuff right out of the gate, or ever, if they, everybody's different. Everybody has strengths and weaknesses. And so, you'll find where your strength is, and you will have that experience of overcoming something or conquering a move that you can do, and it is so worth it. Once you have that experience, then you're just like, oh, I love pole dancing now. And you fall in love with it in that moment. And we've had great shows. They've been fun and weird, and
people throw money.
Yeah, people throw money, which strippers. I love. Yes, and that's fun, and people like throwing money, I've realized. I don't know why.
Yeah, and you let students take home their tips,
oh, yeah,
too.
Absolutely. I'd be a pimp if I didn't. Action. So what do you like about me, Julianne? So one thing I love about Julianne is when we do a showcase, she grabs a pole and flings, does this power spin, like grazing people's faces with her feet, and it's with her 8-inch heels. It's pretty epic.